this is going to be an amazing segment. I mean, they're all great, right? But this one especially, women as influencers, how to become super effective at selling and sponsoring while being totally true to yourself. And having coached and worked with so many people over the last 15 years, I truly believe that of any skill set that you need in this business, there's really two fundamental skills. You need to obviously be able to sell products, and you need to be able to recruit people. And although that sounds so simple, I know that those are areas that women often feel challenged. And I'm curious to hear from all of you, my lovely panel here of top female leaders who are joining us, what your opinion is on that. But I really believe women have amazing strengths when it comes to influencing other people that we don't really appreciate or leverage like we could. So I'm going to pick your brains extensively through this session, because everybody here, obviously, to be at the level of success that you're at, you guys are amazing recruiters. But not only that, you're an example of how people can do this with an enormous amount of integrity. You're all very authentic, you're very heart-centered, and I know that you create such an example of how great this profession can be, not just economically, but what it can really stand for. So I would love to hear from you in terms of what strengths do you think women have that we're not leveraging the way that we could? And have you heard that excuse before? Do you have people on your team say things like, oh, I'm no good at sales, or I can't recruit people? But you guys are obviously living proof that that's not true. So maybe we'll start way over here with Pam. And
absolutely. You know, that is a common thread that I hear, that I'm not good at sales, I don't like sales. But when we take a look at things, we had the mom panel. Our kids sell to us every day, and we sell to our kids every day to get them to do the things that we want to do. We, our spouses, you know, Kevin sold himself to me in so many different ways that I won't get into today. But you know, we sell ourselves to our girlfriends, to our peers. I would sell my story to the jury every time I would present a case. So sales is not that negative, you know, four-letter word that people think of. We are actually, as women, very powerful when it comes to sales, and we should embrace that, because we are exceptional at presenting things not only logically, but also with compassion over top of that logic, which is so powerful, and I'm excited when women realize that they possess that and they take that forward.
Right, and I love what you said, because it's a combination of being an effective communicator, but also when you bring that authentic self to the experience, and you're just really relating to people from the heart. And I think sometimes women may feel that that's not appropriate in business, but to be able to marry those two things, in my experience, is so powerful. And I just encourage women to embrace that, because I think it's what really makes a difference in how people respond to us, for sure. And Kimmy, I know you're amazing at that. Would you share a little bit about your experience?
Well, first of all, I mean, women just know how to get things done, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think that it comes from that innate ability that we all have as women to be nurturing, whether you're a mother or not. We just care, we have that loving energy, and so in speaking with people, just being authentic and being real and really coming from a place of nurturing and helping and listening to the person that you're speaking with.
Definitely. Romy, how about for you? What's your experience? Where do you think women sell themselves short when it comes to sales or recruiting?
You know, I think women, when they come into this business, they think they have to be someone else than who they are.
Right.
And if you're just yourself and have conversations with people and make friends wherever you go, then it becomes very natural. And it gets easier with time. We all know having conversations now is a lot easier than on day one or day two, right? And if you can just remember to make it about the other person. It's not driving your agenda, it's not getting through all your talking points. It's about what's in it for someone else. And just maybe you might have something of use for somebody else, products or a business.
Well, that's such an important piece. I just want to reiterate that, because I've seen that happen a lot with women, you know, trying to do it perfectly and trying to say the script and make sure they get everything in there. Whereas when you just shift into that place of how can I help this person? Or what could I do that would really make a difference? What's important to them? I think it engages, I mean, not that men don't have that too, but it engages that part of women that is just so nurturing and really cares about other people. It's almost like you don't have to think, you just are in that experience, and that's what comes across and really affects people, Brilliant. How about you? What do you've been around for
So I think I've been around for so long. I should have grandchildren. My kids are watching. But not until you get married, kids. That first. So I think people in general just crave intimacy. I think our busy world has got all of us running so fragmented. And the only way to have true intimacy with another human being is to show up authentically. You said a great thing when you said, people, maybe they watch the people on stage and they think they need to imitate a certain style or be a certain way. But I would give you this mantra, my business, my way. My business, my way. And where we sell ourselves short is that we underestimate our influence. We do have influence. Our thoughts carry weight with people when we share them, and we sometimes don't get that. And so, I'm back to that theme of just really trusting in yourself. Know what you know, what you know, what you know. And when you stand in that place and you're willing to show up transparently and lovingly, it becomes very, very easy. And people are craving that. What people really crave is your authentic self. They crave your authentic self.
So true. And I believe that's just as true for men as it is for women, right? People today want authentic relationships. They want authentic communication in business. Nobody wants to be sold. Nobody wants to be pitched. But if someone takes the time to sit down and just has a real, honest, heart-to-heart conversation, the impact of that is enormous. And I think it's really changing for men too in this profession. I think some of that old school stuff that was taught for years is starting to fade away. And even the guys are starting to realize that these feminine qualities of compassion and authenticity and realness is 10 times more powerful than the greatest PowerPoint presentation ever, right? So what are some of the mistakes that you've seen women make in the past? And Sarah, I think you probably have some of the greatest experience here because you were in business with so many men for a long time. So what should women not do in your experience, or what was hard for you when you were first coming up in the business as far as selling?
I think one of the most natural things that we have as women is that we talk about being authentic, right? So what's one of the easiest ways for us to be authentic is that we are natural storytellers as women, and so we have this innate ability where we just automatically are always sharing. And that is so much what our business is. So, when you were talking about that question before, I think it's so much about, being authentic. But like for myself, something I talked about, every single person, like every person that I worked with or who I'd been introduced to in regards to network marketing were men. And don't get me wrong, I love men, but the reality is that the way that I build a business was different than theirs. And for a long time, I look at the first 5 years of my business, I really stumbled, and it wasn't because it wasn't a great product or service or a compensation plan or anything. I was trying to build it like them. You talked about seeing that person on the stage and going, well, I need to try to be like that person. And I really fumbled, and I realized that everything that I was doing, I really look at the way that I see when men do sales and when women do sales. It's different. Men, it's very transactional. With women, it's very relational. So for me, I was always trying to work this business and not necessarily really truly connect with someone and get into their life. I was very transactional, and so because of that, I was totally out of my element as a woman, and there was a huge disconnect with people. So yes, I might be able to get the sale, but I couldn't ever build a team long term because I wasn't authentically being myself. And that took 5 years to realize. I hit my head against the wall so many times that once I really stepped back and looked at it and realized that, you know what, I'm going to be me. Yes, I'm going to continue to grow and become better, but once I authentically just went, okay, everything that I'm going to do, I have to be just real. Number one, people totally respected that. They loved that I was transparent. They loved that I was vulnerable. They loved that it was just like, again, it just made them go, I can do this business. And that is so important. They have to go, I can do this. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is just the authentic piece is everything. Your business will never be the same again if you just really, really just be who you're supposed to be.
Brilliant.
Quirkiness and all and everything. And,
you're a great example of that. It's not surprising you guys have a large team, and it's not technique, right? It's just being real.
Right.
Yourself.
Very
Absolutely.
real.